Module 4, Unit 7, Building Vocabulary. Vocabulary development is essential for literacy, serving as a bridge between word recognition and comprehension. It provides students with the tools to engage with increasingly complex texts, communicate effectively, and develop critical thinking skills. Teaching vocabulary requires more than rote memorization of definitions. It involves fostering deep understanding through a range of strategies, including morphemic and contextual analysis, meaningful application, and exploration of linguistic nuances. By embedding vocabulary instruction into broader literacy goals, educators empower students to grow as independent learners and thinkers. One powerful approach to vocabulary instruction is morphemic analysis, which focuses on understanding the parts of words, such as roots, prefixes, and suffixes, to uncover their meanings. Students often encounter new words by recognizing familiar roots or parts. For example, encountering the word unbelievable, students might break it down into un, meaning not, and believe, combining them to infer its meaning as not believable. This skill connects word structure with meaning, making unfamiliar terms more accessible and helping students recognize patterns in language. Morphemic analysis is a crucial word attack skill because it prioritizes understanding over memorization, allowing students to decode words based on their components. Understanding derivational suffixes, like al in words such as personal, is an integral part of morphemic analysis. These suffixes change the grammatical category of a word, such as transforming nouns into adjectives or verbs into nouns. Teaching these patterns enables students to make connections between words, enhancing their comprehension and expanding their vocabulary. For instance, recognizing that personal is related to person helps students grasp how suffixes modify meaning while maintaining a relationship to the root word. While morphemic analysis is powerful, students must also learn to use contextual analysis, a strategy that involves using clues from surrounding text to infer the meaning of unfamiliar words. However, research suggests that students successfully use contextual analysis only 5 to 20% of the time. Even when text clues are obvious, students often overlook them, highlighting the need for explicit instruction and modeling. Teachers can guide students to identify synonyms, antonyms, or examples within a passage to deduce the meaning of a word. For instance, if a text describes a dreary day as one with gray skies and constant rain, students can infer that dreary means dull or gloomy. Hearing words explained in context is one of the most effective ways to learn vocabulary. When students encounter new words during a read-aloud session, teachers can provide examples of how the words are used in different contexts, reinforcing their understanding. For instance, after reading a story, the teacher might explain how the word peered means looked intently by giving examples like, she peered through the fog, or he peered over the edge of the cliff. This practice ties new words to students' experiences and solidifies their grasp of meaning. While recognizing rhyming words or identifying initial sounds in spoken words are important foundational skills, segmenting the separate sounds in a word poses a greater challenge. Tasks like breaking cat into ka and t require precise auditory discrimination and cognitive processing, underscoring the importance of targeted instruction to develop these advanced phonological skills. Vocabulary learning also involves exploring the nuances of language, such as words with multiple meanings, homophones, and homographs. For example, the word secure can mean safe in one context and to obtain in another, requiring students to use contextual clues to determine the intended meaning. Similarly, understanding cultural differences in word usage enriches students' vocabulary. Learning that in British English, a biscuit is the equivalent of an American cookie illustrates the concept of learning a label and highlights the importance of language diversity. Teaching tiered vocabulary is another effective strategy. Words are categorized into 3 tiers based on frequency and complexity. Tier 1 words are basic and commonly used, such as run or happy, while Tier 3 words are domain-specific, like photosynthesis. Tier 2 words, such as peered, are particularly valuable for instruction because they appear across various contexts and enhance academic language. Teaching Tier 2 words helps students build a rich vocabulary that supports both everyday communication and academic success. Elaboration is another critical component of vocabulary instruction. Deepening students' understanding of words involves exploring their meanings, applications, and associations. For instance, teaching the word invention might include discussing its definition, analyzing famous inventions, and evaluating their impact on society. This approach helps students connect new words to broader concepts, fostering higher-level thinking and comprehension. Figurative language, idioms, and proverbs also enrich students' vocabulary and understanding of language. These features challenge students to think beyond literal meanings, engaging their interpretive and critical thinking skills. For example, explaining the idiom "break a leg" as a way to wish someone good luck teaches students about the flexibility and creativity of language. Similarly, introducing homophones like there and there, or homographs like lead, to guide, and lead, a metal, help students navigate the complexities of English and avoid common misunderstandings. Equipping students with the tools to learn new words independently is a vital goal of vocabulary instruction. Teaching morphemic analysis, contextual analysis, and dictionary skills empowers students to decode and understand unfamiliar words on their own. These strategies encourage curiosity and self-reliance, fostering a mindset that values exploration and lifelong learning. For example, teaching students how to break down the word unpredictable into un, predict, and able helps them not only understand this word, but also apply the skill to similar words they encounter in the future. An effective vocabulary program integrates these elements into a cohesive framework that supports students at every stage of their literacy development. By selecting appropriate words, teaching key techniques, and encouraging independent learning, educators create opportunities for students to expand their vocabularies meaningfully and sustainably. Vocabulary instruction is more than a set of strategies. It is a pathway to higher-level literacy, critical thinking, and meaningful engagement with language and the world around them. Unit 8. Comprehension. Theory and strategies. Comprehension lies at the heart of literacy, transforming the act of reading from a mechanical process into a meaningful experience. It allows readers to connect with texts on a deeper level, integrating knowledge, inferring meaning, and engaging critically. Teaching comprehension is not merely about fostering the ability to recall facts from a passage, but about empowering students to analyze, interpret, and synthesize information. Through effective strategies and carefully designed programs, educators can guide students toward achieving higher-level literacy. Understanding how comprehension works begins with recognizing its multifaceted nature. Successful comprehension depends on the interaction between the reader's background knowledge and the text. For instance, a student with excellent word recognition skills might struggle to understand a story about a football championship because they lack prior knowledge of the sport. Their difficulty is not rooted in decoding, but in an absence of the contextual framework necessary to make sense of the narrative. This example underscores the importance of background knowledge in comprehension. Without it, even skilled readers may find texts inaccessible. To address gaps in students' knowledge, educators can use strategies that activate and build prior understanding. Guided reading lessons are particularly helpful for students who lack sufficient context, as these lessons provide structured support tailored to their needs. Additionally, pre-reading techniques such as anticipation guides encourage students to reflect on their own experiences and beliefs before encountering a text. For example, before reading about a controversial topic, an anticipation guide might prompt students to agree or disagree with statements related to the subject, priming them to engage more critically with the material. Engaging students actively in the reading process is key to fostering comprehension. Techniques like reciprocal teaching exemplify this approach by encouraging collaboration and strategy use. In reciprocal teaching, students cycle through predicting, questioning, clarifying, and summarizing, each strategy reinforcing a different aspect of comprehension. Predicting invites students to anticipate what might happen next in a story, engaging their inferential skills. Summarizing helps consolidate key ideas, ensuring that they understand the most critical elements of the text. This method not only enhances individual comprehension, but also builds a sense of shared learning within the classroom. Making inferences is another vital component of comprehension, and some students require additional support to develop this skill. The question-answer relationships (QAR) strategy is particularly effective in guiding students who struggle with inference making. QR helps students distinguish between answers that can be found directly in the text and those that require drawing on prior knowledge or reasoning. This process equips students with the tools to bridge gaps between explicit and implicit information, fostering deeper engagement with the text. Vocabulary instruction also plays a central role in comprehension. To have a meaningful impact, vocabulary study must focus on words that are both unfamiliar and essential to understanding the text. For instance, learning the word resilient within the context of a character overcoming adversity not only clarifies its meaning, but also connects it to the narrative. Teaching vocabulary in context allows students to see how words function within sentences and enriches their comprehension of the passage as a whole. Moreover, understanding unfamiliar words through contextual analysis or direct instruction ensures that vocabulary becomes a tool for comprehension rather than a barrier to it. Vocabulary instruction emphasizes empowering students to decode and understand unfamiliar words independently. Techniques such as morphemic analysis, which breaks words into meaningful parts, and contextual analysis, which uses surrounding text as clues, are prioritized. While dictionaries are useful tools, their use during reading should be a last resort, as relying on them can disrupt fluency and comprehension. Instead, students are encouraged to exhaust other strategies first, fostering self-reliance and a smoother reading experience. Comprehension is often challenged by the complexity of texts, which may feature dense content, abstract ideas, or technical language. According to Fisher, depth of content is a defining characteristic of complex texts, demanding strategies that enable students to navigate them effectively. Repair techniques such as rereading, pausing, and paraphrasing are invaluable for resolving confusion and clarifying difficult passages. For example, when encountering a paragraph laden with technical jargon, students might pause to paraphrase it into simpler terms, breaking down the content into more digestible pieces. Comprehension also varies by the type of text students encounter. Content area reading, for instance, stands apart from other types of reading because it focuses on learning new concepts within a specific discipline and applying this knowledge. Unlike narrative texts, which primarily entertain or tell stories, content area texts require students to analyze informational material and connect it to broader academic or real-world contexts. This dual emphasis on comprehension and application highlights the importance of teaching strategies tailored to different types of reading. Effective comprehension instruction involves engaging students with texts through meaningful interaction. One of the most impactful ways to achieve this is by asking high-quality questions about the selection. Thoughtful questions prompt students to analyze, infer, and evaluate, guiding them beyond surface-level understanding to deeper engagement with the text. By encouraging connections within the material and to their own experiences, these questions not only enhance comprehension, but also foster critical thinking and retention. Summarizing stands out as one of the most effective organizational strategies for comprehension. By distilling a text into its essential elements, students reinforce their understanding and improve retention. Summarizing also encourages them to identify relationships between ideas, fostering a deeper appreciation of the text's structure and themes. Additionally, mental models, such as comparing an author's description of an experience to their own, help students visualize and relate to the material, creating a stronger connection to the text. Dual coding, or the process of representing information both verbally and visually, further enhances comprehension. Pairing words with images allows students to engage multiple cognitive pathways, making abstract concepts more concrete and memorable. For example, a text describing the life cycle of a butterfly might be accompanied by a diagram, helping students visualize each stage and solidify their understanding. This combination of visual and verbal information not only supports comprehension, but also encourages students to approach texts with curiosity and creativity. Effective comprehension instruction also involves encouraging students to think critically about what they read. Responsive elaboration, for instance, prompts students to justify their interpretations and consider alternative perspectives, redirecting the student's reasoning. Similarly, questioning the author challenges students to analyze the author's intent, purpose, and reasoning. Why did the author choose to present the information this way? What message are they trying to convey? These questions push students beyond surface-level understanding, fostering a deeper engagement with the text and a greater appreciation for the writing process. Responsive elaboration and questioning the author encourage students to think critically about a text, examining the writer's intent and perspective. Bloom's taxonomy, a widely used framework for categorizing cognitive processes in education, organizes these skills into levels, from basic recall to advanced analysis and evaluation. At the analyze level, students break down information, assess relationships, and identify supporting evidence for the author's purpose. Teaching this skill enables readers to engage deeply with the material, critically evaluate arguments, and draw informed conclusions, enhancing their comprehension and critical thinking abilities. Comprehension strategies must also be tailored to individual needs. Students who struggle with unfamiliar topics may benefit from scaffolding techniques, such as guided reading, while those grappling with technical language might focus on paraphrasing and vocabulary expansion. Programs like reciprocal teaching provide a flexible framework that can be adapted to different learners, ensuring that all students, regardless of their starting point, can develop the skills necessary for higher-level literacy. The ultimate goal of comprehension instruction is to cultivate readers who can navigate complex texts with confidence, curiosity, and critical insight. This requires a balance of strategies that address decoding, vocabulary, background knowledge, and engagement. By teaching students to actively interact with texts, whether through questioning, summarizing, or building mental models, educators empower them to extract meaning, evaluate ideas, and connect reading to their own lives and experiences. In doing so, they prepare students not only for academic success, but also for a lifetime of thoughtful and meaningful reading.